basically ready, yeah.
All right, posted it here. Posted it here. And posting it in one more place. I'll give you a link also, Z, if you want. There you go.
You should probably just post it in the, well, that's right, I got it now.
All right, now that I've spammed that everywhere, let's reopen the chat so I can see when anybody comes in here. And we will get this show on the road. I'll wait to roll intro till we got some people in here.
You're a little peaky there, DMS.
Am I? Okay, here, let me just scoot my mic back a little bit. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to turn my compression or my output gain down just a hair. There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Yes, the stream did just start.
Your stream is really spotty.
Is it?
It's lagging, but I mean, as long as I can hear you, I don't know if the sound's cutting in and out. The video is definitely jittery.
Well, my internet's not the fastest thing in the world. So,
by the way, it's still called episode 8. It's called Lasagna Wave. Is that what we should be titling this?
Yeah.
On my screen, it says episode 9.
I just opened the page and it says the same thing it did last time. I'll refresh it.
Can you guys hear this fucking asshole mowing our lawn?
No, I can't.
Hey, you don't know if he's an asshole. He might be a great guy.
He might be.
It's a respectful 10:41 a.m., you know? Like,
I'm going to check this one thing real fast, and then we will roll intro and get it all going.
Roll the intro.
All right. Okay, everybody. Who will live chat? Perfect. It doesn't say there's anyone watching, but I see things in the chat. So, let's roll the intro, and let's get it going.
Do it.
Do intro, go.
Yeah, totally is. I'm not gonna say
31 watching.
Well, hopefully that actually played. I can't actually preview the stream on my end, so because Firefox is frozen. But this episode, we're talking about more blank you want to see in audio. So like
more blank.
More blank. Fill in the blank.
More stuff.
More of what you would like to see in audio specifically. Now, this doesn't have to be headphones, doesn't have to be speakers, whatever. More cheap DACs, more dynamics that are open back like every other KXX out there, or K7XX or 650 or anything like that.
Okay. I'll start really quick. I got one.
Go for it.
I would like to see more companies that are known for higher end equipment like Odyssey, who are starting to do these more budget friendly headphones.
Yeah, that would be
like
nice.
Their gaming, the Mobius, and even the LCD 2C was kind of
my only fear with going budget oriented with a company like Odyssey is they made their whole reputation on Made in America, and if you switch to that, there's only one way to really keep it like absolute budget is either well, actually, it's two ways. There's move to China or to become Grado and make everything out of the shittiest materials known to man.
I just figured out
it's definitely got its drawbacks, but it's still something that I like to see more higher end sound get moved into a cheaper space.
And we are seeing that more lately. I think that a higher end sound moving into a cheap space, and I think quality control is very important because a lot of companies have issues with that. Also, the reason why it's lagging is because it says my CPU is at 173% usage right now.
Are you rendering that wallpaper live? Is that why?
Yes. But that's not why. Every time I stream, it does this because, I don't know, I guess i7s aren't as good as they used to be.
I'm running an i7. I can pretty much dance around things.
I wonder if this shows up in the green screen.
I mean,
look at that. It's an invisible leash. Perfect. I'm just going to do this from now on.
Have you considered switching to a blue screen instead of a green screen?
No, because Can you do this, Josh? Can you do this?
No, I can't.
Actually, if you colored in certain parts of your face, that'd be amazing.
I have the green salamander mask. I'll go put that on if you guys want to talk for a second.
No, just
No, I'm gonna do it.
we're supposed to be talking about stuff we'd like to see in audio, man. All right.
Have fun.
All right. Go on. Hit me with it. Hit me with the weirdest request you have.
Me?
Because yeah.
Shit, dude. I don't know. Well, one, I'd like to see and they're already kind of working on it, but really emphasizing location in audio. So you were talking about that one software and that headset thing
the waves
measures. Yeah. I'd like to see that come to more companies and maybe be built into a headphone, so that would have like some sort of measurement system that measures where it started, and then anywhere you move after that is coming from the original place.
If I had to pick a thing, I want to see every headphone company come out with something that is completely different and original.
There we go.
Just something weird, like the one more triple drivers, which are actually a double driver. I want to see that from every. I want to see, Mr. Speakers come out with a half planar, half dynamic with a piezo, or something that's like a half open, half closed. I want to see experimental shit that may not work.
That would be interesting.
Go back to like the 70s for speakers.
You put that on and you look at the creepiest chemistry teacher that ever taught.
Oh my god, dude. You do actually. You look like a really young Walter White with the glasses.
Perfect. Hey, Caitlin, you want to see something interesting?
But yeah, I'd like to see experimental stuff as well.
Someone watching the stream, by the way, just messaged me and says, "Is he on fucking drugs?"
Nope. Just really, really weird person. How do you think she puts up with me?
They can't see me.
I know they can't see you, but still.
It'd also be pretty cool to see sort of like a virtual assembly of an audio system in a room, so you could take either, like, I don't know, video, or they'd send you a device that would measure your room exactly, height, width, and it would kind of take into account what your walls are made of, how everything bounces off of those, so that you could set your speakers up in a specific position, specific place. It's basically just room correction, but I want to speed that process up, and I'm not sure exactly how you would do that.
Well, I mean,
if I had that idea.
Surround sound units have measurement microphones.
Right.
So, and then I have those Aura phones, the ones that supposedly measurement your ears and then adjust how they sound based on the measurements. Yeah, that's their whole shtick. I just don't know if I believe their shtick, because when you put on the headphones that measures your ears, it's like, here's your signature. We can save it and apply it. And then you could listen to the Aura phones with and without the corrections. And with the corrections, they honestly sound amazing. They sound exactly like $400 headphones should sound, and it feels like two little Asian girls are sticking their fingers in your ears. Great. But when you hit the button that says, okay, shut off the corrections and play them raw, it is the worst sounding thing you've ever heard. Like, it has to be that they've made it sound shittier. Nothing could be that bad and then that good. It has to be just like, okay, it would actually just sound a little bit worse, but we're going to make it sound a lot worse, so it seems like the difference is greater. It has to be that. And the only way I'm going to be able to find out is to find someone who has much different ears than I do, have them get tuned for it, and then put them on my ears.
What if they took just a medium tune for it, so that it was applicable to almost everybody's ears once it's honed in on that, but as a default, it has to be able to play kind of every sound at every level.
It's hard to describe it, because it's like you put it on, you have an app, and you hit go, and it's like, wow, these sound really good. After it measured for 60 seconds playing tones in your ears, and you have to make sure you don't move. And then you flip it off, and it's like, oh, these are horrific. I don't know what it's doing. It sounds like the phase is inverted. It sounds like
you should just compare it to my ears, because my ears are definitely very differently shaped and sized than your ears.
Well, you would know. You put your tongue in there for so long.
Or just like, here's what you could do. You could just take it and put it on like a weird cup or something. Just something that isn't an actual ear, and try and have it tune it to that.
I would say that it doesn't matter what it sounds like untuned, because that's like saying that a speaker sounds like shit if you turn it around and face it against the wall. It's like, of course.
No, but it's more along the lines of, like, if you walk into a room and there's room correction, and okay, room correction's on, but now we're going to shut room correction off. But they're not just shutting room correction off. They're inverting the phase of one speaker and removing all the bass. And they're like, listen to how it sounds without the correction. So it feels like they're fucking with the sound harder to make the difference seem greater.
Yeah. I mean,
so like they sound good. They sound really good.
It wouldn't be the first
they're all set up.
Fucking do that.
Correct. It's just like I know how bad it should. Like even with and without corrections, you're not fixing that level unless your headphones are absolute garbage and the only thing saving them is corrections. Like I'm gonna have to I have the mini DSP ears, like the fake silicone ears. I might drop them on that and have it do the corrections on there.
I've got to
put them on.
I need to mess with the mini DSP because those things actually look really cool.
I'm selling one of my yard sale, the non HD version. I'm selling.
When you go to audio shows, because I haven't been to any audio shows, do they ever do A/B tests where it seems like they're actually like changing something when they switch it? Because I feel like it'd be really like I feel like that'd be the best way to sell a speaker. Is like you say, okay, here's a cheap amp that we hooked up to this, and then here's our like $2,000 amp. But when they switch it, they could like fuck with something.
That way, whatever isn't their product doesn't sound as good.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe that people probably do that.
I would only trust with an independent adjudicator between the two, and you'd have to trust that they're not fucking with it. It's the only way to go about it. I don't. Like,
I'm just asking if you think it happens there.
Oh, I think it might happen, but here's
I think it's possible. Some people probably do it.
I think most people, if you just tell them that something's happening and you say, "Listen, do you hear it? Do you hear the fucking?" You'll hear it.
Yeah.
Placebo.
You'll hear it if I just tell you. Yeah. They'll placebo the shit out of you. You don't even need to fake it. The boxes at Can Jam that we saw there, DMS.
Yeah, those ones that were just like full of rocks or concrete or whatever.
Yeah, it was a fucking tile with 3 RCAs in the back of it. I'm like, what? Oh, it's removing the transients. You can't do what you're plugging into a It wasn't even like it was an analog pass-through where maybe there's a resistor in line or maybe there's something going on. He literally plugged the coaxial digital of a Quest style DAC amp into this rock, and then he was playing off of USB.
Right.
But apparently it was absorbing through the other input. What? Stop.
Yeah, so, it's sketchy.
Real quick, DMS, what would you like to see?
I would like to see more multi-driver things. I would love to see, like Z was talking about earlier, like hybrids. I'd love to see like planar dynamic hybrids. I'd love to see multi-driver hybrids, things like that. I think that would be excellent. And if not that, then I would like to see more large dynamics, like large high-end dynamics with greater magnetic force. Because
like
that's kind of like what they do with
like
the Tesla
Sony?
drivers. I'd like to see like large Tesla drivers, basically, or hybrids.
What about something to where let's market it as a gaming headset, right? Or a gaming sound system where you would have your high notes and your detail handled by a open set of headphones and have a set of speakers and subwoofer that would handle all the mid and low notes for soundstage and bass and all that stuff.
I'm gonna drop some knowledge, all right? If you want a life-changing experience, use some like
with headphones. But
I was gonna say this is something that somebody in my Discord did. They have a big subwoofer in their house, and they played the subwoofer while they were wearing Monks, little bitty VE Monk earbuds that have no bass, and apparently it was life-changing. Just little earbuds, not IEMs, not things that seal.
My only issue with that is the timing delay. You'd have to be inside that subwoofer or delay the IEMs. Because if you ever get a mini DSP,
I'd like to see it as a set, like somebody sells a headphone.
Yeah, it would have to be set up as a set, because even on the mini DSP, you can go and set a delay, and it doesn't just tell you the delay in milliseconds. It tells you the delay in milliseconds and meters.
Right.
And like 1 meter is like 0.35 of a second. It's a small amount, but I could if I sit there and hold the button, I could completely fuck my room up just by telling it it's slightly delayed.
I'm going to send you a picture, and I want you to tell me what you think about these. I'm going to send it to you first, Z, because I don't know what these are called, and if you know what they're called, I'm going to look it up and put a picture up on the podcast, but I couldn't find them. Like anywhere except for on an Instagram account, they didn't have a name.
Dude, I have no concept. Those are
well, I'll put it in front of my camera real quick. They're like completely open with just a speaker hanging in them. I don't know what they are, but as a concept, that looks interesting.
I don't hate, because they were those speakers at Can Jam that were the ones that pivoted off your temples. And
the MySpheres.
And that was interesting. The MySpheres.
Wow.
Yeah.
That looks like a better design because it's fixed.
It's more traditional.
Like it still wears it as a headphone, but it just hangs up. Well, look, what's the difference between that and HD800? honestly, the H800 is completely open except for the driver floating there.
Well,
So-
the thing about the H800 is that the mesh around it is designed to basically hold in sound pressure, so it's not completely open air. That kind of metallic mesh is what is responsible for a lot of the low end and low mids.
Well, cut it the fuck out. Let's see what we get.
No low end and no low mids on H800.
I wonder. I mean, how strict do you have to be on the shape of a planar driver? Does it have to be a rectangle, or could it be a
Oh no,
different
planar
shape?
drivers. There's some that are circle. There's some that are oval. Like it's all over the place.
Because I wonder if you could make that. Like, I almost wonder if you could put a system with planar drivers where you'd have like 5 or 6 tiny little like drivers within each headphone and make kind of a positional. I mean, they already try and do it with like gaming headsets, but I mean like a real audio company.
Well, here's the thing.
Who tries to make like positional audio with a bunch of different drivers in a headset.
With planars, the benefit of them is that they're large, generally. Like, that's a planar's biggest benefit generally is its size.
Yeah,
and the reason that dynamics usually aren't as large as planars is because of breakup. And planars have that issue a lot less because the entire surface is basically the motor for the speaker.
Yeah.
So having small planars would kind of defeat the purpose of it.
It goes from the motor being a little thing that moves a diaphragm to the motor being the diaphragm to electrostatics, where it's, let's not put anything on this diaphragm and just make it move with, you know, the
magic,
the smallest film, and then electrostatic energy.
Right.
So it's all about still moving a diaphragm. It's like when you think about electrical generation, like when you say, how do they make? I hate nuclear power. I hate coal power, solar power. Literally, all three of those have one thing in common. It's all about making water boil and making steam, and steam spins a turbine. Whether you do it with nuclear fuel or burning coal or directing the sun's energy into one spot, you're still making water boil. So the same thing with sound. You have to make the air move in some fashion. So whether it's fucking a dynamic with a little magnet or a planar with a big magnet or electrostatic with no magnets, you're still accomplishing the same thing. I'd like to see some other fucking option. I mean, I don't know what else is out there at this point.
I mean, here's the thing I would say. If you are wanting to do multi-driver, you're probably going to be better using dynamics because of their size, because like I said, you're going to be losing the benefit of planar. Overall, dynamics generally, if a dynamic could be the same size as a planar without having breakup, a dynamic would perform better than a planar. Just pretty much in general. But we just don't have dynamics of that size without breakup issues, and it's because the materials are not rigid enough while also being light enough to move quickly. So if that was fixed, then I think dynamics would definitely be king.
Graphene, high five, graphene.
We'll see. We will see. I mean, Z1R did a good job about that.
Well, think about how expensive developing, you know, planar magnetic or electrostatic drivers was back in the day.
Still
and
is.
Graphene's hella expensive now. Like hella expensive. But, you know, 50 years down the line, it may be something as cheap and easy to produce as carbon fiber.
True.
But we'll see. I mean, obviously there's a long time and a lot of research to be done between then and now, but
somebody asked what breakup is. Here, I'll look that up. Basically, when a headphone driver or speaker driver, it's, oh gosh, I am lagging so bad. My computer's almost totally frozen.
Oh yeah, you lagged out a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll try and explain it with hand gestures as best I can, but so basically imagine that this is your speaker. Let's turn it on its side so it's facing upwards. You have a big flat plane right here and your magnet and your coil are in the middle. As it is moving up and down, the material on top has to be thin. The thinner it is, then the faster it's going to be able to move generally. But it basically will wave like this as it's moving up and down just a little bit, and that's breakup. And the wave can create phase issues and all kinds of other problems. Yeah. So as little breakup as possible means the driver all moves as one instead of flexing as it moves.
Try putting a piece of paper on the middle, like in the middle of a piece of paper, put your finger underneath it and try and move the whole piece of paper without it flexing at all. It's basically like that.
Yeah. And you can see this with subwoofers and a strobe light. Fun fact.
Well, yes. Yes and no.
To an extent, it's not very visible.
The human eye can't see it, pretty much, is what it comes down to. But it's existing. You have to slow it down with a fucking camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, breakup is a big issue with dynamics. But aside from that, they're generally superior, I would say. So, but I'd love to see multi-driver headphones. I think that would be, honestly, I think that's a big step forward, is multi-driver designs, either multi-driver or very large dynamic drivers with stronger magnets.
Yeah, I think the magnet technology will be interesting, because you could use really any material you want.
Are magnets, is there a technology breakthrough that I didn't hear about magnets getting better? Because I'm not sure I've heard anything.
Well, there's electromagnets, and like it's just it depends on how much electricity you can push through a magnet, on how strong it will be, and then the
that presents another issue.
Receding area.
Electromagnets generate a lot of heat, and a lot of the way that they are generally cooled inside of a speaker driver is by the movement of the driver itself.
Right. Producing air. And,
it's kind of sketchy, because if you generate heat, you're going to eventually burning the enamel off of the wire in there, and then it's going to short, and then your driver's dead.
Yeah. So I mean, technically all speaker or all dynamic drivers are electromagnets, just really, really small electromagnets. But the only breakthroughs are just going to be making smaller technology better, faster, and stronger.
Rotary subwoofers for your head. Done.
Perfect.
That'd be interesting.
Can I make this? I was going to say, I want to try and make it so it streams better, but I can't because I'm already streaming.
What do you guys think about the introduction of, have you seen those vests that vibrate and fake the feel or the
yes, and I was asked to review one, and I'm like, I don't want to wear anything.
I have heard
about
about those.
Music. That's more for, I would imagine that's more for gamers, and I wouldn't even say hardcore gamers. I mean, like, because I think if you're sitting there,
because bass is omnidirectional, and
well, no, that's the thing. You don't, when you're a hardcore gamer, you don't put bass in your headphones because you don't care about explosions. You care about footsteps and gunshots in the distance.
Exactly.
So that's a very, very limited range. But I could see. Here's the thing. I could see. Okay, I don't have bass in my headphones. I want a vest. However, now move on to the I'm playing for reals and I want to win. I don't need someone tapping on my shoulder randomly every time something happens. Leave me the fuck alone. They want them to sit in their perfect little silent thing staring directly at the center of their screen, which is no bigger than a certain size, because God forbid there'd be peripheral vision, and just do their thing.
Right.
Right. You know what actually helps a lot for vision is brightening up the room around your monitor. A lot of people think playing with like a dark room and a bright monitor is like the best way to go. It's actually the opposite.
No, please, you know how many fucking lands I go to, and I just want to start smashing people's, not their monitors, their faces. Because they sit there, and it's like one or two people in a row who have just the brightest settings of the brightest monitor in the dark room, and I'm just like, how do your eyes function? It's like staring into the fucking sun. My monitor brightness goes to like 6 out of 20 when I'm out of LAN.
Yeah.
My computer's dying, so I'm just going to open the chat on my phone. This is too painful.
Your eyes are just a lot more receptive to evenly lit light than it is a high contrast situation. So
I've got that BenQ screen bar that they sent me, because they sent me the monitors review.
Yeah.
How is that?
I love this thing.
You like it? Good.
It just hangs over the top of your monitor with a weight on the back of it. Literally, it's just like a little hook thing on the front that grabs, and then there's like a nut sack that hangs in the back and just holds it in place. And you go hit the button, it'll change color temperatures and brightnesses, and you can set it to automatic. I've got it on right now, and I just, it's like, it's almost perfect. I could still, if I was sitting up higher, if the monitor wasn't as high, I wouldn't be able to see the actual LEDs, but I've got it pretty high above my head right now, so it's like I could still see it. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good stuff.
Oh, here's something. Yeah, I do think transparency is super important in the audio industry, and I think there needs to be more of it, because a lot of things are kind of swept under the rug in a lot of places.
Yeah. You have a specific example?
Gosh, I'm trying not to call anybody out here.
Ruin it. Ruin
Um,
Well, define transparency. Do you mean like in if they're trying to sell a headphone and they're like, oh, it does this and this and all this stuff? Do you
yeah,
want
people
them to
being
speak
honest
plain
about things like
English,
their frequency
or-
response. Like, okay, Josh, without saying any names, you remember the frequency response graphs I showed you yesterday about a headphone that they claim what its frequency response is versus the measurements that actually come out for it?
Yeah. You'd
Things like
prefer
that.
More transparency on that. Yeah.
It's very, that doesn't seem very honest. Things like that, or things like, the claims they make with their headphones for its price, or like just, when people use total BS terms with it.
The BS terms would get me. I was going to come and chime in with that. Like,
Can that be qualified though as false advertising?
Well, here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
How do you argue that the treble is not less splashy than it would have been with another cable?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you know that your bass isn't more, I don't know, what, just use a really random flavor?
You could just splashy with someone. Someone said that to me. Oh, it's less splashy. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, so you can't really. It's not really a false advertising thing, but it's just like saying things that they don't really mean anything, and you're just trying to sell something to people. That doesn't seem very honest.
Could do the frequency response thing as false advertising, being like, look, we tested 10 pairs of your headphones. None of them measured even close to what this is. And this is the only real test that we can do, right? I mean, defining whether something is splashy or not, that's ridiculous.
Right.
On like a person-to-person basis. But like, I feel like there has to be some sort of consequence for just making shit up. Like to a certain degree, I almost think that without any sort of test proving that it actually changes something, you shouldn't be able to sell certain things. Like
audio is an interesting. Audio is one of the only industries where people really get away with that easily, though.
Yeah, that's the reason I do so well.
Like
I don't have to pick the audiophile term. When I started doing reviews, I used to watch a couple reviews, and I'm like, I'm never going to say this or this or this or this because it's all everyone says, and it means nothing to me. Mm-hmm. I'd rather go with if I could tell you that a fucking headphone makes me cry, that's more important than if I think the treble is. I can't even use sibling because sibling's an actual thing, but goddamn it, what's a good fake term that they use for like treble?
Fuck, I don't know.
There's like so many of them too.
Well, I think people use transparency in the wrong way a lot.
Yeah, no, transparency should mean that there's almost no messing with the sound for a
if something's truly transparent, it would be like completely flat line across the board.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: people misuse the term high fidelity a lot because high fidelity is retaining completely true sound to the original recording, so something that's not altered in any way. H800 is a very colored headphone. It's not high fidelity. It's high resolution, but it's not high fidelity.
I actually have a weird take on this, and I'm only cutting in because I want to see what you think. So high fidelity, by Google's definition, is the reproduction of sound with little distortion giving a result very similar to the original.
Yes.
Now, the way I'm interpreting that, if I were an artist, is I would want people to hear my music as intended. If it has a lot of bass, I want whatever they're listening to be able to reproduce that in a good way. Now, high fidelity or audiophile sound generally means a relatively flat sound signature, but let's just take a perfectly flat sound signature. That's not really going to necessarily be able to reproduce things that are necessarily intended by an artist.
Well,
and every artist
let's stop. I don't think here's going to piss off some people. I don't think artists should be in charge of that. And that's fucked up to say.
Well,
I think
here's the thing.
Engineers should not be. Is the problem is that people have to make music. It's unfortunate, but it's still true. And if robots made music, they could guarantee you absolute linearity in everything that goes on. Now, if you want a certain sound, you're allowed to say, okay, one of the lower bass, but having something come out of your speakers or headphones the way the artist intended could be completely impossible because you have no fucking idea how cracked out said artist was when he finalized it.
That's kind of the
generally,
point I was circling around.
If they want something to be bass heavy, then they should mix it that way. And in an ideal world, I mean, okay, so here's the thing.
Right.
Distortion would be deviation from neutral, okay? In this context, distortion would be like if there's a bump in bass, then that is distorting the
Right.
sound from what its true fidelity would be. So very high fidelity, it would basically be unaltered.
So
From-
high fidelity in its truest form would be a exact even frequency response, right?
Assuming that, yeah, it would be completely even. It would be exactly as it was recorded. Now,
So how far would that be? So how far does something have to be from that flat line? Because nothing has achieved that perfectly flat line.
right,
How
that's
far
the
would
thing.
it have to be considered high fidelity?
Well, that's where it's a very gray area because there isn't a quantifiable red line where we say this is no longer hi-fi. I mean, I have my own scale, but I think that at that point it's more or less. It's hard to say. It really is hard to say. I mean, when you can look at something like the Fidelio X2 and be like, that is not hi-fi. That is a giant mess of ups and downs. It doesn't mean they sound bad because some people like that, but it's not high fidelity. I would say that,
Yeah,
like, you know,
well,
600, 650, they're closer, but they do roll off in the lows and the highs, and that is not particularly. I mean, it's higher fidelity than a lot of
They
things
get
because of their
really
neutrality.
shaky in the highs, and
Say what?
it's completely 600s get really shaky in the highs,
Mhm.
and then at least on a frequency response graph,
Right.
and then below 50 hertz it just sinks.
They're higher fidelity than a lot of things I've seen, but they aren't perfect.
They're
And that's the
flatter
thing.
in the
Nothing is
mid-range
perfect.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no. See, that's the thing. It's there's. You could argue almost that visual. You can walk up to a TV and you can measure it. There's tools that measure it, and you could say the accuracy or the contrast ratio. If you're using the same scale as everything else, you can provide color accuracy numbers and sort of like that. Audio is so much harder because even just the way you put it on a measurement rig, like everyone's, oh, you should start measuring things. Yes, I know from my headphone demo units, just from putting the headphones on my microphones and moving them the slightest amount, or just the fact that one headphone is sealed too much and the microphones freak out, and I've got to sometimes back them off the block, give it layers. I know that it doesn't sound like it's supposed to when you put it on it. And there's no way that any measurement microphone, I don't care how well it's labeled, if you're not listening through it and saying, you know, something's way off, something's right, you can't. Measuring headphones is like an imperfect science to the nth degree.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at Interfidelity. They have an incredible measuring rig, and still you can see all where he does like the gray lines to show all the different repositions he's had. It varies a lot. Even very, 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 very expensive measurement rigs at companies that are used for research and development, they're not perfect. Measuring headphones is an incredibly difficult task, and there's not an exact science to it. So it's very hard to actually define what's going to be perfectly neutral, and actually quantify that. Although we do have a general idea, we can try and tell, okay, this is more neutral than this, but it is very, very hard to quantify. I'd love to see something that's flat across the board, but here's something else to take into consideration is that even mixing engineers generally won't have something that's perfectly flat, and the reason for that is because most headphones are so flavored and so distorted that they're trying to compensate for that in their mixes now, because we've gone so far away from what would be essentially true fidelity.
You know what's interesting though is that the term high fidelity, it's one of, in the audiophile community, it's one of the only terms in any hobby that means something that hasn't been achieved. Like for cars, for example, there's no term that means a perfect car. Or if you want to go to
cars
TVs,
are my favorite
there's no
go-to
term for a perfect TV.
Cars are my favorite go-to for comparing headphones. I think more people understand cars than headphones. So if I said, it's like here, measuring graphs. You want to go into measuring graphs? I had my car dyno tuned. I had to drive all the way down to North Carolina. Didn't say hi to DMS because why would I? But you get handed the graph at the end of the run, and you look at it and you go, okay, here's where it peaks, here's my torque, here's my horsepower. That is essentially the same as measuring headphones. It's telling you what you're looking at, what your power is, what the speed is, the gear shifts. Right. But that doesn't tell you how much the car weighs, how it handles, what kind of tires are in it, does the interior, is it comfortable, does it smell? These are all things that a car has that, if I just handed you 15 pieces of paper with graphs on it and said, pick which car you want to drive the rest of your life, it's impossible.
Yeah, there's the thing that with cars though is that there is like an unknown factor about like, okay, which one are you going to enjoy driving more? And that's a completely real thing, I think. But like I was saying with the audiophile thing and high fidelity is a term, whereas there's no term for the car industry for what that
high
X
performance
factor is.
High performance. There you go. I have a high performance car. What does that mean?
I think high performance would mean anything updated from the standard.
That would be fair. I think that there are quantifiable numbers to define high performance, but I think that measurement rigs and measurements aren't everything, but I think it does paint a very important part of the picture because it can help clarify and visually display and quantify things that we're hearing and help us understand them better.
I mean, here's the best example of me going against the grain. I picked up the advanced alphas from Massdrop, and the limit to buy them was 3. Now, Massdrop usually they sell 6,000 of a unit. The limit to get to the advanced alphas was 3, and I was the second person to put in, and it had been up for like 5 days. And the reason no one was buying these things, these amazing looking planars, they look amazing, was because one of the images was a measurement graph that showed at 7K a 12 decibel hump. Now, if I went based on that alone, I'm not buying these headphones. But I said, screw it, Patreon money, let's see what happens. Pick them up, and sure, the highs are a little more pronounced, but holy shit, there's a 12, if I took any other headphone, any linear headphone, went to an equalizer, and just jacked up 7K to 12 decibels, I wouldn't be able to listen to them. And
right.
These do not have that problem. So either somebody measured it wrong, and this is on their own post, so they didn't have to put this graph up, they could just skip that entirely. But either someone measured it wrong, or it's doing so only for that particular measurement rig. I'd love to find other measurements of the advanced alpha to push against it. Actually, I might even try hooking up, because I have the ears. I have the Mini DSP ears. Maybe I'll give that a whirl and see if I can measure those headphones against what they showed on the Massdrop post. Because I like those headphones a lot. And if they had truly that much mess up in the measurement, I couldn't. It'd be impossible to listen to any headphone with a 12 decibel bump in 7K.
You just bring them down here and we'll measure them.
F you, buddy.
I'm just saying. Technically, my measurement rig is small enough I could bring it up there.
True, and I have the ears. I do have the ears. It's supposed to be a measurement rig. I mean, it's a cheap one, but it should still work.
Yeah, do you have your calibration file for it?
I haven't gotten into it yet. It's written on the actual unit, and I can just go online and sign in.
Fair.
So
yeah, if you ever want to do that, I'll help you get it set up.
Are Oppo shutting down? Do you guys have any comments?
I just heard about that today. I thought it was a joke. Someone said it. I'm like, Oppo's gone. I'm like, I wasn't even talking about an Oppo in the video file I saw that on, and it's like, oh, crap. I guess I can never get rid of my Oppo Hot 2 because I love that thing. My Gen 1 Oppo Hot 2.
Are they really? Like, is this confirmed?
I've heard it in a couple places.
Down.
Unless
I think Steve Guttenberg was talking about it like 2 or 3 days ago.
I never heard. Don't they make some headphones, planar closed back headphones?
They do, the PM3s.
Never heard of
the PM3s. I reviewed them. They were very hard to drive for a portable, but really well built and darkest. I mean, if I didn't know what dark headphones were, after hearing those, I understood what dark headphones were.
Fair
they
enough.
Were just disappear into the music. Like Dracula would love those headphones because it's just so far back and
not a glimpse of sunlight.
Yeah, no sunlight on those at all. For a planar, for clothes, it was like, ooh. I didn't hate them, but they were never my top pick.
Okay, so I have a question for you guys, kind of off topic, but does regard to audio. If you had to pick either a pair of headphones to either explain to a non-audiophile what a certain sound signature sounds like, or to get them into audiophile, I don't know the fucking word for that, audiophilia, whatever, or to get them into that, what would you pick?
Well, that's the thing. I've had people come to my apartment and say, all right, blow my mind. And I don't know if I want to. Because people who have only been exposed to like consumer grade stuff,
right?
Do you really want to just have them sit down and put on fucking L700 stacks? Do you want to take them from, doodling in the back of newspapers to, sit down and watch this 200-inch screen play ultra surround sound of fucking Watchmen? No, I think I always start people out with like T50s. T50s are good because there's enough bass and enough treble. Yeah. Ships would do it. Yeah, blow their mind with the cheapest thing you got because you got to leave them room to grow. You got to just push them in a little bit. Don't take them and slam them down and throw ether C flows on them and be like, here you go, try these, and everything that's ever been imagined happens at once.
I love the look on people's faces. Like when I went to Arizona, I don't know, 6 months ago, I went with my family, and I brought the M1060s with me and this shit full in my laptop. And I love seeing their faces when I'm like, they're like, how much is this? And I'm like, it's $300 for just the headphones. They're like, that's ridiculous. And then they put the headphones on, they listen to a song, they smile, they take the headphones off, and they're like, it's not so ridiculous. I love that. Like, I love converting people.
$300 after being in this game 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when I would have never spent $300 on a pair of headphones. I would have just like, I get away with like 150 if I want a really good set, and that would have been where I sat. Until you've sat here and listened to so many, and you know that you kind of have to spend a certain amount to get places. It's not always the same amount, but I always tell people, if they're gonna, don't worry about spending $30 more. Like, if my budget is $120, but I could push it to $150. Unless you're willing to double your budget, you're pretty much gonna stay where you are. I have $100 spent on headphones, fine. I have $200 spent on headphones, fine. $400, $800, and then $1,600 gets you up into near the ethers and shit, and you should be done around that point. I don't. Anything above like $3,000, you're looking at like what? Used set of goddamn abysses. No.
Are those even any good? Has anybody heard those?
The big ones or the little ones?
I don't either one.
The little ones I heard and I liked them. But they look like they're from, like, if you got on a TWA flight in 1978.
Right.
And then you look at the price and it's like, oh, fuck you. They're like still $1,300 to $1,500. It's ridiculous.
They're interesting.
How they looked and how they built, how they sounded was good. If they were under 1,000, it'd be a quirky thing to buy. Like, oh, they look funny and they're small, but they're Abyss. So if they're under 1,000, I might give them a shot. Mm-hmm. Over 1,000, they're not worth. They ain't worth it. I don't care how good they sound. They're not big enough. They didn't do enough for me. They look ridiculous. So then the big abysses. You're
talking about the black ones, like the
black ones that have like the straight bar on top. Those are the big abysses.
66. Okay.
I don't know.
The big fit on those is so strange.
Times, and I've never ever liked them.
Really? Okay.
I've heard they're definitely strange. Dual mono tube setup. They had like, was it Woo? I forget who it was. No, it wasn't Woo. I
don't know.
Some other setup that was like 2 5-watt tube amps, one per channel, that completely separate. You had to adjust the volume on both. And I sat there for a good 20 minutes because I just found a seat at like, that was a New York Audio Show, not this year, but last year. And I just wanted to sit down and get away from walking around. And I just sat there and trying to really listen. And people are like, well, no, you can't let them touch your ear, or you just gotta be hovering over your ear. I'm like, then why are there pads on it? It didn't make any sense. And I could never get them to sound to the point of like I would always have taken LCD-X's over them every time I heard them.
They're very strange. I will say that. Very strange. Apparently, Oppo is only closing their American branch.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Apparently, they're the largest cell maker in China, according to this comment. So that's interesting.
And they're honoring warranties, apparently. I think I did hear that actually from what's his face, Steve Guttenberg. Gutenberg. He says Guttenberg on his videos. He says Guttenberg.
Well, the creator of the animated GIF calls it a GIF, but it's not a J, so he doesn't get to choose how he pronounces it.
It's a GIF.
Yeah, it's a GIF. You're not a goddamn linguist.
Oh man.
But like one thing I've noticed is I've talked to people who like they list Beats as their reference good pair of headphone. The mainstream.
That's painful.
They're like, oh, that's
people either say like Beats or Bose, and I'm just like, you
here's
need to stop.
The thing, like they sound better than Apple, earbuds. If you have never heard a quote unquote high fidelity sound, Beats sound good compared to other things. Like, let's be honest. But they don't sound good.
I wouldn't say that.
Whoa. Beats sound good compared to what other things? Give me the list of things. I mean, talking about $5.
Yeah, Apple.
I was going to say that the headphones that come with the iPhone,
they sound
like the earpods. I think the earpods have a better frequency response than Beats.
I think it depends on I think it depends on which pair of Beats. Anyways, my point is in the mainstream, to an average person walking down the street, Beats are kind of what they consider to be upper end in price, upper end in sound.
I mean, here's the thing.
To go buy it at Best Buy, right?
Would you want to have Beats to have never existed?
I don't give a fuck if they exist. If people want to buy them,
I don't
No,
like them, but
that's
it does bring people into the concept of paying more for audio because you can buy Beats for like $500.
Beats did it. Beats came in and said, "Oh man, he's got the expensive Beats. He's awesome." So people started to become willing to pay for fucking expensive headphones. I had someone come into my apartment because after I set up UPS, he walked in. I'm apparently the most interesting thing. Because, oh yeah, YouTube channel. Oh yeah. He's like, so all this stuff is like better than like Beats, right? And I just sort of paused, and I just sort of like, if you can't see through the podcast, I'm just like twisting my head down, my eyebrow is ready to like stab somebody. It's like, yeah, pretty much. Don't buy Beats.
Okay, disregarding that, my point was that if they think that's a good reference, if they go into, and I'm going to use this word, but if they listen to a like really high fidelity, transparent, like HD 600s, right? Love them or hate them, you got to admit they sound 10 times better than Beats. And
Yes.
it's not a sound signature that people are used to because of that mid-range isolation. And I've taken people who list Beats as like their optimal headphone, put HD 600s on their head, and they walk away an audiophile. I swear to fucking God.
But here's the thing.
Like,
I've
okay,
also had people that have
100%
like,
I'm down.
I've had people that have come over and they've listened to like, for example, like LCDs or HD 600s or all kinds of other things that generally like Beats, and they've been like, oh, these are trash. They have no bass. And I'm just like, get out. Because a lot of people, most people, and this is really messed up, but a lot of people just judge a headphone, you're like your average consumer, just by how much bass it has. Not how good anything is, but just how much it rumbles your ears. That's a lot.
Right.
A lot of people just care about that and nothing else, which is really messed up.
Bass
I'd
is
to
like it.
say that I'm very respectful of like people's ideal sound signature, because if you are, if you're just somebody who loves bass and that's what you love, I'm totally cool with that.
The thing is, maybe they're not people who love it. Maybe they're people who have tried on everyone else's headphones, and they're all lesser levels of Beats or shittier Philips or something. And it's like, well, this one doesn't have enough bass. This one has the most bass. It's the best. That's like saying the car with the loudest exhaust is the best car. Which is my car, by the way.
But there's a difference between loud bass and good bass. There are plenty of headphones that don't have overemphasized bass that's much better. I think that you have to be open to it.
I think it's better to our perspective. And then there's also, the X factor of like, some people just don't give a fuck. Like my girlfriend, she listens to all the headphones I've ever had, all the speakers, and she can admit that they sound better. She's like, okay, these are way better, but she doesn't care. She doesn't give a fuck if they sound better. Like she's never going to go buy a pair of HD 600s, for example, just because they sound better. She's fine with her Apple EarPods because she just doesn't care. So I feel like everyone falls within a spectrum of caring, and then if you're in the more caring than not caring area, then you start to get into purity of sound, let's say, and getting away from like the classic sound signature of like really heavy bass and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
It's hard to tell people what's good. I've been doing this 5 years. You try to tell people what's good, but what is good isn't what you think is good. It's what everyone else thinks is good, because you can change your perspective through many months of brainwashing. Best spaghetti is the best thing. That's why Bose and Beats exist. Bose for 20 years has been telling people exactly what the best thing is, and it's Bose. It's the best. It's Bose. I mean, they spend 70% of all the money Bose takes in magazines and TV commercials, and
they just sponsor people and advertise and stuff like that. That's what Beats has done too. That's what's built their success, is by putting it on famous people and doing lots of advertising. Neither Bose nor Beats makes a good product, honestly. The QC35 is good for active noise canceling, but the sound is kind of garbage. Neither of them makes a good product.
I respected the noise canceling. The comfort was spot on, and the build quality was excellent, but I wouldn't listen to them on a daily basis.
I couldn't stand the sound.
I'm going on a flight every 3 months. I'll put these on my head, and I won't listen to the plane.
It's kind of like measuring a 2018 Corvette to a Honda Odyssey. If you're going to measure it in like specs and performance and what it's capable of doing around a track as a car, then it's like, okay, obviously the Corvette's better in every scenario.
No, because you got 4 children, then you're not getting them in a Corvette. So what are they
that's
selling
my
you?
point regarding like practicality. like I feel like Bose with the sound isolation and the wireless and all that stuff.
Yeah, if looks weren't part of it, like you're saying two cars, one car is obviously prettier than the other, but I don't know how to convert that to, like, let's just pretend you couldn't see the car. It was
No, I was just
appeared
talking
inside
about
of it.
what it can do. So one is a track performing car, you know, it can do 0 to 60 times that are amazing, but the other one can fit 7 people in it. And it has, you know, all these cool features. You can fit all your groceries in it. You could fucking move lumber in it probably. But that's not something the Corvette can do. So in regards to practicality, the Odyssey wins. Regarding performance, the Corvette wins. Bose is like the Honda Odyssey of headphones. It's like, yeah, they're really practical. They fit in slim places. They're actually pretty robust in regards to build quality. You know, they have all the sound isolation. They can do multiple devices. For practicality, they're really good. For performance,
they've got everything right, but the sound quality.
Well, here's
They've got
something.
everything right, but the sound quality.
In high school, I had several pair of Beats. I had the Beats, the Pros, the Solos, the Studios, stuff like that. And the first thing that really blew my mind was a $25 set of Sennheiser HD 203s, which is what I would consider my first.
201s.
Yeah, the 203s they're like a little bit differently shaped, but the 203s are the ones that first really blew my mind because it was like, whoa, this is what treble is. And from there it was like a snowball. And I don't think it takes much to open someone's eyes to something like that if they're really willing to,
if they want to,
experience it. Yeah. And from there it was a snowball effect. Then I got 650s, and I've had 650s basically since then, nonstop, forever.
I mean, look, I was. If you had to go and ask anybody what they think an audiophile headphone brand is from nothingness, I think enough people will know the name Sennheiser.
Yeah.
It's German. It's got to be good. I mean, I started out with 201s for a long time, and then I'm like, oh, I got to spend some money. And there was a sale, and I got spent $80 on my 280 Pros, and I use those forever.
Here's something too. I've talked to people before who, they're like, oh, Bose or Beats are the best. And I'm like, well, what about Sennheiser? And they're like, oh, I tried the Momentums and they weren't that good. And it's kind of sad because the only things that you really see marketed a lot are the average consumer kind of cans, like Momentums and stuff like that, which aren't that great. So people who
but they
think
come
of
in at the same price as 600s, which is crazy.
Right, but people, when they think of Sennheiser as a storefront brand, they usually think of things like the Momentums and other stuff like that. They don't actually know about things like the 598s or the 650s or just whatever, which is kind of painful.
I have the entire 500 series on my desk behind me, getting ready for review. Everything but the 598s because I reviewed them already. My friend had a pair and a part to borrow. Whatever. The point is, none of the headphones behind me are bad. Every one of them is I'd recommend every one of them. And there's just such a small difference between them too. It's like, why is this one has plastic on top? This one doesn't. There's nothing bad. There's nothing bad here. No one can hate any of these. Then maybe you could afford something better, but you can't hate on any of them. Which is why it's just a hard review to do. It's like, what am I going to say about them? How am I going to contrast and compare? Some are open, some are closed, but none of them they're all the same amounts of comfort. They're the same exact structure. I mean, they might even be more comfortable than the damn 600, 650 style, just because they're a little bit less clamp and they have a little bit more angle on them. Mm-hmm. It's just, you can't. There's no reason people should like Beats more than, because I could sit down and I could list a million headphones that have similar qualities to what people would say. Oh, I want extremely high bass. I want it to be tight. I want it to be this. I want it to just squeeze my head. I could list any number of headphones that isn't Beats or Bose.
They just want the logo.
They just want it's branding. It's all branding. Mm-hmm. It's that Z logo.
Yeah, it's branding, and I think people equate average people equate good sound with bass. I think they think it's powerful, and I think another thing is that it's one of the easiest things to compare.
Yeah, you hear it immediately. You put on whatever song you have. You go to a song that's crazy, and boom, 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 and your whole head starts shaking. That's why the RBH HP2s were so good, and why I love the monoprice retros, because now if someone is those people, hey, you love that? Here, spend $60. Spend $30 on a headphone and spend $30 on a pad, and you'll just shit your pants with bass all day. And at least it's bass that I respect. It's cleaner. Monoprice retros, it's a lot of bass and it's a little wonky, but they're $30. And you know what? It still has mid-range and highs, or else I wouldn't recommend them. It still has a whole sound going on.
Right.
So
But
I could beat any beats for $60.
Yeah.
Would you believe we've already been doing this for an hour? Because that blows my mind.
No, fuck you.
Well, really? Fuck.
Yeah, we've already been doing this for 54 minutes and 43 seconds.
I feel like this has been a good podcast though, because we're talking about actual audio for once.
Right. Well, we didn't talk too much about why we want to see more of an audio, but we did kind of get there, and we have been talking kind of about like pricing and stuff like that.
Like I want to see people take risks.
I'll tell you what I want to see less of.
People take risks. Period.
I'm gonna pull up something real quick. I just saw Campfire Audio in the comments, and that reminds me. Z, you heard the Andromedas now. They're pretty great.
I did. One of the best things I've heard in an audio show. They're amazing, but I said, somebody asked me about them on my stream today, and I'm like, you know what? You have to really be committed to that lifestyle to spend over $1,000 on IEMs, no matter how good it sounds. If I'm a headphone, I'm a speaker person, and going to headphones is step 1, but going to IEMs is step fucking 2. That's 2 steps away from speakers. I don't know if I want to.
Real quick, guys, do you like whiskey? Because Ninja wants me to convince you to drink whiskey and talk about it during one of our podcasts.
I'm not really a drinker, but I do kind of like whiskey. Check this out on the stream.
Whistle Pig bottle. Whistle Pig. The long one is great.
Look at this. Campfire just released 2 new IEMs, a new cheap one and a new flagship. The cheap one, Comet, is I want to say $200.
Did that say $1,000 for cheap?
No.
Like okay, so Atlas is.
Those look cool.
It's gonna load in a second. Oh no, Atlas is $1,299. That's their new flagship, and it's got a 10mm dynamic in it. Whereas Comet is $199. So that's a new cheap Campfire, and I'm really excited and I really want to hear it.
That's dope.
I like a lot. Campfire makes dang good IEMs as long as it's not super warm. Vega was too warm for my taste.
Can I say that I hate Chrome, and I hope that nothing Chrome ever exists?
But look at how beautiful that is.
I think Chrome looks awesome until you touch it.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. I'm gonna have to put those in my ear, and my ears and my hand is bad. It's all bad. Honestly, Matt, I'm gonna start an audio company called Matte Black.
Sorry, they don't.
And I'm just gonna have everything be matte black or matte gray, nothing shiny.
Yeah, matte gray looks really cool. I think, like the Reventon color.
Reventon. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Stock matte gray.
Like I'm so glad my laptop, my Toshiba, my Lenovo laptop is like silver, but it's like old school matte silver, like not paint. Like that's the actual aluminum. I had another laptop. Who had a laptop? It was like just every part of it was shiny plastic, and you look at it and it looks like crap every time.
Just smudges everywhere.
Yeah, it's like, why you do this? I mean, the front of the I did the 305p review. And I did the DefTech SM55 review. And they both have shiny black plastic on the front. It's just like, please stop. No one asked for this.
That's the thing. You know what's funny is like it's one of the most popular designs for like monitors, laptops, all that stuff, and everyone hates it. I don't know why they still make it, because everyone's like, this is shit. I hate this. I hate every part about this like glossy finish that just attracts fingerprints like a motherfucker.
I mean, it's just how it is now.
Like the K-Boss paint, whatever's on the K-Bosses, it's kind of like half matte, half shiny, but it attracts fingerprints like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah, no, there's a couple speakers that I can't touch. Like the best ones are the Kefs because it's a textured vinyl, but it's not.
You know what kills me is Apple displays on their computers are just glossy. It's just stupid. I can't. Any viewing angle.
I will say this BenQ monitor, the 2 BenQs I got, this little one has only shiny plastic on the actual stand and only in the back of the stand. The front's like a faux brushed aluminum, and the entire bezel's matte, and the entire screen is matte. It's not a shiny screen. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. I just have to get the colors tuned properly. You know, I have a little baby projector. I would take a picture and send it to you if I had the urge. I reviewed it, and I reference. It's my reference. I'd say someone sent me it was like $150 micro projector, and on the top, the part that you have to look at and touch with the power button is shiny plastic. and it looks like crap because it's all shiny plastic, and it always does. The bottom of the projector, when you flip it upside down, is a 3D holographic flat plastic that's matte that looks amazing. It's on the bottom of a projector. It doesn't make any sense. And it's like, if I could get this material on everything that is shiny plastic, the world would be a greater place.
So here's something I want to know. This is my camera I use usually for shooting my YouTube videos. This screen, and I know you know this too, Josh, this screen is reflective, but it doesn't, somehow it's magic, and fingerprints do not stick to it. I don't know how they did it, but it's reflective, it's capacitive, and I never have had fingerprints on it, and I use it all the time.
My fingerprints stick to it, but it like almost never gets in the way.
It's magic. Canon did something magic. So it is possible.
Canon needs to sell lens protectors for my phone.
There you go.
Seriously,
Ready
the
for
one
blinding.
and only gripe I have about this for the price, and it's not even something that I wish they would add, just move, is that damn headphone input. They need to move it out from in front of the flip out screen.
Oh yeah, the mic
no
input on this
sense.
camera, because me and Josh have the same camera. It's right here, so when you flip the screen out.
Oh shit. You just fucking blinded me on your fucking screen.
Oh, by the way, this is a good idea. Put some tape on your screen right here. That way you can just like, you have it like this and you can just grab it and flip it out. It's really easy.
Life hacks.
Yeah, camera hacks. But yeah, it's a pain because I turn on the camera and we both get this problem. You turn on the camera and the headphone jack covers up the screen a little bit, but so does my light. I can't see that part of the screen anyway when I'm recording, so.
I actually turn the screen away. Like I make sure I'm in focus, then I move the screen out of the way because I look at the screen and not at the lens.
Oh, see, I can't see the screen too much when it's on, but this is blinding, so I just look into the center of the blindingness. Right. And then I just see blue for like, you know.
It's a bad way to live. It's a bad way to live.
I just see blue for 30, 40 minutes after I record every video.
See, you know, I would move that light on top if you can, because direct light doesn't actually look that great on skin.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on
coming from the side.
It'd look better if it was slightly more diffused.
Yeah, put some like what do they call that?
Well, this isn't exactly how I have it set up. This is how I have it set up when I'm like doing vlogging or something, just because it's nice to have a little light on here. And normally I have a bar attached to the bottom also, the one that's on my mic actually, this bar. But that way I can just have a portable mic, light, and everything, and I can just like that, nice and easy. And then I just,
have you guys seen the Abyss Dianas?
That's what we were talking about before.
They are ugly.
That was the ones that looked like they came with like a TWA flight in the 70s.
You want to see ugly? I'll be right back.
They look like something my sister would buy, like based off of looks. Like they have a flower on it. It looks like
there's a Diana, dirty Diana.
Yeah.
Now.
All right.
I don't know.
All right. Here you go.
Okay.
I present to you the worst headphones.
Boutique headphone coming straight from the Abyss website. That's what it describes these as. The world's thinnest boutique headphone.
This is the worst headphone, period.
Okay.
Right here. These are the ones I've told you about a million times. Z and Josh.
Here it comes.
Look at these things. This is like, this is all just this weird metal. This is all just cheap plastic on top. Bowers & Wilkins sells these for $1,000. See this plastic pad? Oh. This is how much it squishes in. You ready? That's it. I can push it in that much until I hit plastic. So there's completely open and then squish, and now I'm touching plastic. It only this has got plastic inside the pad. It literally is plastic with just a little bit of foam wrapped around the plastic. The cable, you have to take the pad off to detach. It's just they're heavy. They sound like ass.
The detachable cable is the thing that I reviewed a pair, not that pair, a different pair that actually had pads. I thought the locking in cable to detach was not a terrible idea, because it's nice that you could take the cable out, but you don't want it to fall out. Are they magnets? They're magnets hold them in, right?
No, magnets hold the pad in, and then the cable is held in with a weird like clamp thing that clamps the cable and kind of deforms it over time. So you have to like yank it out like that and then pull it out. They're terrible. They're more uncomfortable than any of the heaviest LCDs I could possibly have imagined, and they sound like worse than $20 Walmart headphones. Yes, this is the P9.
That's crazy.
It's garbage. It's just the most garbage headphone. Nothing can defeat this in levels of garbage.
It's such a prolific brand and all that stuff, and yet it sounds like shit.
Yeah, Bowers & Wilkins, great speakers. Some of their headphones, not bad. Their flagship P9s, absolute garbage.
Focal, when I reviewed their the cheap set that I destroyed, like I just shit on them. It was like they were just terribly built. They were like, you have $20,000 loudspeakers. Everyone loves what you do. Spend $8 in China instead of $3.
You know, best part too, you can't really see it in there, but the speaker behind that grill is just like, it's just you know those little black paper speakers you see in like Logitech desktop speakers?
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Oh god. Oh dear.
Seems fine to me.
It's like they just took that and put it in an aluminum housing, and we're like, yep, $1,000, put it in an Apple store. It's painful. I need to release a video on these. I recorded one a while back, but I was sick, so I never released it. But I'm gonna re-release it at some point. They're so bad. This is the definite. If I wanted to tell someone what a bad headphone is, I'd put this on them and be like, suffer. Anyway, just since we were talking about bad headphones, I wanted to bring these out.
Yeah.
So yeah. The case is nice though. It's big, but the case is nice. Nicer than the headphones because it folds flat like that, and then you can magnets. Yeah. All right, back into the case.
Remember last week when I was telling you guys about my sister's spleen?
Yes.
And she had that like fucking 8-pound cyst.
Yes.
So I guess in a week it's formed all the way back. It's like 1 centimeter smaller than it was before in a week. So she's back in the pre-op right now. And
sorry to hear that.
Let's see what they say. A laparoscopic unroofing.
Yeah, laparoscopic.
I know what laparoscopy is, but I have no idea what an unroofing is. It doesn't sound like I want to ever know.
Laparoscopic is how I had my gallbladder taken out. The recovery from that is honestly easier than anything invasive, but it still does kind of suck for a little while afterwards because they have to inflate your abdomen with gas.
My father had his gallbladder out when I was a baby. I don't remember any of it, but I'm sure nowadays whatever they did for you is like super easy. It's all about cutting each open's guts now.
It's so fucking weird that you can just take out parts of your body and you're fine.
That's true.
Like,
well, I mean, you're not
your spleen out, and
it's not like you're a million% fine, but like I mean, I can't really eat the same ever since I had my gallbladder out, and it's been very hard to drink since I had my gallbladder out because it's just messed up my digestion.
You know, like it's just crazy that you could go and remove an organ, and then you're like, I'll walk it off. Like it's cool.
It is interesting. I have ever since then. Now I've got like a scar like here, and here, and then I've got a scar on my belly button where they just stuck in a bunch of robot arms and did the surgery without cutting me open too much, and then just pulled it out through my belly button.
Yeah, my father's got like a 5-inch scar from his belly button up. It's like, oh, that's how we used to do it back in the late 80s.
Now I just got some little bitty scars.
Yeah, like my other sister, when she was a baby, she had like open heart surgery. She's got this giant scar all the way. Like,
that's intense.
It's probably like 8 inches now from like stretching over, her growth. But it's like all the way down her back. It's pretty nuts.
I mean, here's the thing, like these still hurt. I still experience pain over here all the time. And it was years ago when I got my gallbladder out, but I still feel the pain in these incisions.
That's weird.
Yeah, it sucks. It happens to a lot of people now, apparently.
It's tinfoil. Tinfoil is giving everyone fucking Alzheimer's and gallbladder problems.
Woohoo.
I've heard that. I've heard that literally tinfoil is doing that, and I just want to see the science behind it before I continue.
Yeah, well, I know that they're starting to ban certain products like popcorn because the filling in the bag that keeps it safe to eat, when you microwave it, it actually becomes like toxic.
Hmm.
Oh, what are you talking about? Like the butter?
No, it's not the butter. It's like, hold on. Let me research it really quick.
Research.
Diacetine.
I love diacetine, I think.
It's in like everything from Twinkies to red wine. It's harmless when eaten, but when heated to high temperatures, like those used to cook microwave popcorn, diacetine vaporizes and becomes toxic. So there's like a whole bunch of food. You know what the fucking crazy thing is? They know it's toxic, but they're giving these companies like 2 or 3 years to work it out of their
Well, that's the thing. You'd have to
system.
You'd have to stop. Because here's the thing: a lot of people are saying that basically we've gone too far with the environment.
And then you're giving them 2 or 3 years to be like, stop poisoning people in 2 to 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, look, if I was running a popcorn company and this thing was fine, all of a sudden it's not fine, and we have no replacement, and basically tell me to stop having a business. If it's toxic is one thing, poisonous is another. Like if it's killing people actively, like today, you got to stop. If it's toxic, then if people are eating 15 bags of popcorn a week and they're going to get sick, well, then they should know about this and then stop eating it that frequently and let me fix the problem. Because you got to find if there was an alternative that was just slightly more expensive, I'm sure they would instantly jump to that just to avoid any problems. But I guarantee you there's no just slightly cheaper avoiding this issue. They got to figure it out.
Well, I think it's kind of one of those things where like I'm one of those guys to where if what I'm doing is killing anybody, it isn't worth it.
Right.
Lame.
Sorry, but it's just like there's no amount of money that makes murder, or manslaughter or whatever, or poisoning, worth whatever I'm doing.
Unless you're a hitman.
In my opinion, if it's accidental, it's one thing. Like I wouldn't blame the popcorn companies if they didn't know about it, but if they continue to use it for like 2 to 3 more years, it's like, yeah, they might take a hit in profit if they just switch over to it right away. But I bet it's not nearly as much as getting sued after, somebody finds out that they poisoned them after knowing about it.
Right.
I have a feeling that whatever is going on, like it's just. Because here's what's going to happen. If you're going just fine and all of a sudden they're like, hey, we need to stop this, well, I'm going to bring out every goddamn... They're going to go and they're going to do everything impossible to try to, disprove it. Because if the company themselves found this out, no one would know. They would just slowly stop using that.
Also, I want to correct myself saying I said diacetine. It's not. It's diacetyl.
Oh, now we're going to die. If your information was faulty.
Well, no, I just don't want anybody like repeating that and then seeing it in ingredients list and be like, oh, fuck. I was wrong.
Are you okay, DMS? You seem distracted.
Nope. I'm dead inside.
I know someone who says that all the time.
That's me. Well, we're at about an hour and 12 minutes. And we're getting really off subject.
Well, yeah. We stayed on subject. We were on audio for like 45 minutes to an hour.
Aren't you guys proud of us?
Way better than the last podcast.
We did good for we did decent for a pretty good while there. So I'm going to call that a win.
Is in your colon. Now we find out the truth.
We find out the truth on the next episode.
This became a health
DMS
podcast.
takes that camera of his and shoves it straight up Josh's ass.
Got it. That's what we got this lens back here for.
Yeah, it's a good thing you got that circle light on there.
It's got the circle light on it. It's ready to go.
Find out next time on Lasagna Wave Podcast. My dog's going to operate the camera too. This is going to get really interesting and messy, so don't...
Oh my God. Here's what we'll do. We'll set up a rail system. We'll set up a rail system with the camera that goes towards Josh's ass. We'll tie a rope for the pulley onto the dog. We slap the dog's ass. He goes running. The camera goes straight up with a lot of torque.
Whole new meaning to Lasagna Wave.
Don't come on a full stomach.
Can we please, like in the background, I mean, people are listening right now, but can we please try to make Lasagna Wave a sexual move? Can we have it end up in Urban Dictionary? Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're giving a girl a Lasagna Wave. That means she's special.
I'm going to check what the Urban Dictionary says about it right now.
It's not there. We have to
let's coin that phrase.
No, just about lasagna right now. It doesn't have a funny fucking definition. That
all right,
sucks.
boys. This is an opportunity right here. We have a chance to change the world with lasagna.
You people all have to get together. You have to band together. Where can they actually post comments on these podcasts after they're posted? This YouTube video, or okay.
It'll just automatically post it on YouTube.
I'm doing a lasagna wave on Urban Dictionary right now. So what's the definition of lasagna wave?
You should just use it to promote our podcast. Isn't that right, Puck? A really good podcast and or a stunning sexual move.
Sexual move to be determined later. I mean, look, lasagna's got a lot of layers.
It's a sexual move to be determined later that requires a green screen.
Bits, it's hot. I mean, and then the wave part of it. I mean, I'm thinking of things that are absolutely disgusting. I couldn't even say them on this podcast. I mean, we don't hold back here at all.
There was. Well, let me see. I had a quote somewhere, but now I can't find it.
I had a thought and then I lost it.
Powered lasagna wave. It wants me to pick a picture. I don't fucking.
I mean, DMS has a picture.
I'm gonna find something real fast. I had a quote and I gotta find it.
Oh, I have to fucking sign up.
Oh, work and effort. Oh,
bear with us because this is the part where everything just kind of goes to hell.
Yeah,
I'm ignoring you all and browsing porn on my phone, so this is fine. This is
my pseudonym. What the fuck? Don't use your real name. Okay, my pseudonym.
No, don't do that. Use your real name.
Lasagna. Yeah, nobody will believe it. They're like, oh, Josh Vallet. Nah, that's not his real name. Lasagna man. Let's go with that. God, that sounds nasty.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorite foods too. What the hell?
My uncle makes great lasagna. The secret is when you put the sausage in the pan, add extra fennel.
What key switches do I use? I'm actually using a Razer Tournament Edition Black Widow with the silent switches. So it's like
lames
the
are lame. Who cares?
Somebody cares. They asked.
Mine's an Aki that was free for me.
Who cares?
To review, and then I'm like, I like this keyboard. Good enough. I never got into the whole mechanical keyboard. All the custom caps on it, but I never got into the whole like mechanical keyboards are the greatest thing ever. I mean, I don't know if it's a gamer thing or just a typer thing. I don't know. Like I understand that it's a better method and it's more expensive and it's old school, but it's like I like ergonomic stuff and I'm not getting an Ergodox. God damn it. Because Ergodox is two pieces. Well, you can attach it together. But it's a $400 thing that's two pieces. I'm not modifying something that's that expensive.
I tried to open my notepad and my computer froze.
That's hard to deal with.
This isn't streaming great.
Don't you have like a ridiculous computer? Like you got like 128 gigs of RAM. Didn't you say that last time?
No, my old one did. This one doesn't. This is an i7 7700 and a 1070. And it can't handle notepad when streaming.
I'm sorry.
All right, let's try again because I just had to force close it. I have to write this down. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send this quote to Josh, and he can copy paste this into the definition.
Oh, I gotta go re-edit. Hold on.
Do it on your phone. Oh, you gotta type it real fast. You people shouldn't even be involved. Why are we even still streaming? We're giving away inside information.
We should give this up. Yeah.
Wait.
We're better than they are. They can't.
I'm gonna pull this up. Just wait.
The wave is cherished.
The wave is running out of heat quickly. It's like that fucking meme that's why won't you let me die?
Huh. Come on, Jerry. We're not supposed to live this long.
You ever seen Shooting McShootface from Borderlands 2? Shoot me in the face. Shoot me in the fucking face. It's just random dude you come across. Just begs you to shoot him. I think he even gives you a gun too.
Sounds like that scene from Watchmen. Punish me, and then Rorschach threw him down an elevator shaft.
Probably.
And they laugh.
Oh, this is trying.
Superhero movie of all time. Just put that out there.
No, I agree, 100%.
Dark Knight was pretty damn close, but
the only thing I would say, I watched a whole rundown of the best comic book movies, and of course Watchmen got honorable mention because fuck everybody in the world.
Why?
But Dredd, the 2012 Dredd, the 2012 Dredd
for best
for best comic book movie ever put to film. And you know what? I agree.
It's
It
good.
is 100%. No, but they don't. He never takes his helmet off. It's a small story. It's like an episode of a comic. It's bloody. It's got great visuals that you'd see in a comic. They broke it down side by side with like panes of the real Dredd comic. It's the best comic book movie.
Okay. I'm gonna disagree, but I think it's a good movie. I'll state that. It's cool. Visual
What's
effects
a better
are awesome.
comic
All right, Josh,
book
I have a
movie?
definition for you.
A better
This is what
comic
you should
book movie-
use.
If you want to go drama, I'd say The Dark Knight.
Yeah, but that's a movie. It doesn't feel like a comic book. It's just a character from a comic book, and they made a movie. As far
That's
as
the definition of
comic book
lasagna wave
movies
for you.
go,
Okay, once it approves the comment, I'll put it in there.
Oh, I put it in Discord. Did you get it?
No, I mean once Urban Dictionary approves the comment
Uh,
or the word.
did you see what I sent you?
Yeah.
Good.
And
Excellent.
yeah, I don't know what's
I think it makes perfect sense.
there's something wrong with you. Do you want me to say this out loud or
If you want, I pulled it from a YouTube video. It's very meme.
Marxist critique of the worker under capitalism, whose energy facilitates the transformation, you added two eyes, by the way, of solid goods produced by a capitalistic class of consumption of the worker into a gaseous state.
I like it.
Whatever the fuck that means.
It's a sex move.
Yeah, that's what it is.
For comic book movies, dude, I don't know. I mean, I think Watchmen was so well done given how big the story was. And I like movies that can
Yes.
take a huge
But
story.
here's the thing: is it a comic book or is it a visual novel? Because there's a graphic novel. Because there's two separate entities. Comic books are like 12 pages and panes and back and forth. Graphic novels are a little bit more.
I'm not that into it, honestly. I'm not a comic book guy. Never have been, unfortunately.
Neither have I. I don't fucking held one in my hands. I don't even know what they look like.
Speaking of
But
great
I
movies, I
understand-
actually just released a video on the Lord of the Rings trilogy and how it's the best trilogy ever made.
I'm gonna go watch that.
No.
It's so good.
I'm gonna watch that after
My
this.
my family just got together and discussed it, and no, Back to the Future is the best trilogy ever because you want to watch every one of those films. And
Wait, we should make this an entire podcast subject.
I've seen all the Lord of the Rings, and I really would rather not see them all again. Like, it's great. They were great when they were out. They're great, but I don't want to watch them again. I have no urge to sit down and watch any of Lord of the Rings. It's okay. You've taken up like 12 hours of my life in 3 movies.
Well, quick rundown
done
of
now.
why I think it's the best is because the individual movies stand on their own, but as a trilogy, as a complete story, I think it's the best done in not only a micro scale, but like a macro scale. I think it does the best in the specifics of each movie, but also as a story overall. I think it has the best consistency. I think every movie was interlaced perfectly with one another. And
I mean, I almost want to
individual
say it doesn't even qualify because it came from like an entire series of books that were already built like that. Like Back to the Future, Lethal Weapon, The Matrix. No one likes The Matrix, because the third Matrix got real whacked out.
Yeah.
Like the first Matrix was great. The second Matrix was like, oh shit, the first
5 and
Matrix was
6
great.
Star Wars was on my list, but like the 6th one was at a
Indiana
different
Jones
pace
4
and-
exists. That sucks. Die Hard 4 and 5 exist. That sucks.
Godfather 3 exists, unfortunately. That sucks.
You know what? I've seen Godfather 1. I don't even think I saw 2 and 3. I was just like, why did you need more of this? This is fun.
Yeah, it was a perfect wrap it up type of movie, you know?
Yeah, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
All right,
Because
guys.
there's money in it.
I think
Save it.
I think it's dead. We should make a podcast subject one time about movies. I think it'd be fun.
No, we'll just bitch
We're
about
closing in on an
movies.
hour and a half, and we're losing
we can
people. So
argue.
I'm gonna call it.
We've been losing people since we were going to shove the camera up Josh's ass.
We've been losing people since before the first episode.
You know, people have literally died on this planet that we used to watch.
Wow, that's morbid. Okay, well, this has been fun, and we will catch you guys next Wednesday when we talk about something inappropriate.
Goodbye.
Very
Peace.
inappropriate.